All right, my friends, we are going to check over the answers from your review. So we worked on as much as we could work on in class today, but here's where you are going to come and check your answers and make sure that you are doing everything correctly. Remember, we still have one more tutorial opportunity prior to taking your test. So keep that in mind as well. If there's something here that you have questions about, come see me in the morning. Okay, so we have a student ran a distance of 3.5 miles each day for 5 days. Then the student ran a distance of 4 1/4 miles each day for the next 5 days. So we have two different things happening. We have 3.5 times 5, and then we also have 4 1/4 times 5. So what I'm going to do is turn these both into improper fractions. So we have 3 times 2 is 6, plus 1 more is 7. So we have 7 over 2 times 5 over 1, and that would give us 35 halves, okay? Or if we simplified it, it would end up being, 17 1/2, okay? And then here we have 4 times 4 is 16, plus 1 more, so that would be 17/4 times 5 over 1, because remember, he's running these distances each day. So we have 17 times 5, and that would give us 85 over 4, and that ends up giving us 21 1/4, okay? So then we have these two numbers, 17.5 plus 21 1/4, okay? Keep in mind that 1/2 is also equal to 2/4, so we can combine these very easily. 17 and 21 is going to be equal to 38. And then we have 2/4 plus 1/4, and that would be 3/4. So the answer that we should have for this one is G. All right, let's look at the second one. We have this week Andres will practice his band for 1.5 hours on Monday, 1 3/4 hours on Tuesday, and 2 hours on Wednesday. Next week, Andres will practice with his band for the same number of hours on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. What is the total number of hours he will practice over these next 6 days? Okay, so first we have to look at these. We have 1.5, okay, and then we have 1 3/4, and then we have 2 hours. Okay, so if we look at this, we actually have 1, 2, 4. So we have 4 hours that we know are whole amounts, okay? And then we want to combine this half and this 3/4. So really, this ends up being equivalent to 2/4. So we would have 4 5/4. Well, because that's an improper fraction, I can go ahead and make this 5 1/4, okay? Because I'm giving 1 over here, and then that just leaves me with 5 1/4, okay? But it said that he was going to do the same exact thing the next 3 days. So we're going to add another 5 1/4, which ends up being 10 2/4, or 10 1/2 if we are simplifying it, okay? Which is B. All right, so I want you to pause right here. I want you to go work through the next page and then come back, unpause, and we can review your answers. Okay, so this is a couple different sets of questions, guys. We have 2 students solve the problem below. Which student solved the problem correctly? So we have James and we have Cecilia, or they both did, or neither one of them did. So let's look to see what they did. So we have negative 3/4 plus 1/8, and this one got 5/8, okay? And then we have negative 3/4 plus 1/8, and she got negative 5/8. So I'm just going to rewrite it down here and see what we come up with and see whose answer matches our answer. So basically, if I'm going to combine these two amounts, I want them both to have a common denominator. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to change this to negative 6/8. When I have negative 6/8 and a positive 1/8, I'm going to combine those two amounts, okay? But because I have a negative here and a positive here, that's going to create 1 0 pair. So what I end up with is negative 5 over 8, because remember that denominator doesn't change. So we have a negative 6 and a positive 1. When we combine those, that would give us negative 5. So who is correct? Cecilia is correct. Okay, James forgot his negative sign. So then we're going to look at just practicing these bottom rational number operations. So we have negative 1 1/6 times 1/4. In order to multiply those, I'm going to want to change this to an improper fraction. So I have negative 1 times 6, so that's negative 6, plus 1 more, so that's negative 7/6 times 1/4. I'm going to multiply straight across, negative 7/24. I can look at simplifying them, but 7 is a prime number, so unless we had this number divisible by 7, I can't simplify that any further, and 24 is not divisible by 7. So let's look at this one. We have negative 1½ plus 2 7/10. So what I'm going to do is make this 5/10 and see if I can't combine these two amounts. So I have negative 5/10 because that's equal to 1/2 plus 2/10. Okay, if we were comparing these, our answer would be positive, okay, because we have a larger positive amount. So we would have 1, and then we would combine the 7 with the negative 5, and that would be a positive 2/10, which would really be 1 1/5. So we have 1 1/5 left over when we combine those amounts. Okay, same thing here. We have 5/8. We're going to go ahead and make this an improper fraction. So we have negative 1 times 8 is negative 8 plus 7 more. So this is going to be negative 15/8. This is 5/8. Okay, so when we go to combine these amounts, our negative amount is going to be larger. Okay, our 8s are going to stay the same. So then we have a positive 5 and a negative 15. When we combine those, we should have a negative 10. Oops, sorry guys. And then we can simplify that even further. This becomes negative 1 2/8, or negative 1 1/4 if we simplify it further, because those numbers are divisible by 2. Okay. All right. Go ahead and pause here and then come back when you have answered this bottom question. Okay. All right. So let's look at classifying the numbers in the table by checking all that apply. Guys, all that apply. So remember, some of these are going to belong to multiple sets and subsets of each other. So when we have 0, 0 is going to be a whole number, 0 is going to be an integer, and 0 is going to be a rational number. So we are going to check all those boxes, okay? Negative 12 is not a natural number. It's not a counting number. It is not a whole number, but it is an integer, and that also makes it a rational number. 272 is a natural counting number. It's a whole number. It's an integer. It's a rational number. It's all the things, okay? And then we have negative 2 6/10. That one is a rational number only. Remember, just because it has that negative sign doesn't necessarily mean it's an integer. Integers are classified as whole numbers and their opposites. So 1, -1, 2, -2, okay? No decimal amounts. If it has a decimal or a fractional amount, that means it's going to be a rational number, even though that sometimes we're tempted with that negative amount, okay? And then we have 0 and 75/100, same thing. This is a rational number. It's not a counting, it's not whole, and it's not an integer, okay? And remember, all this is coming from the sets and subsets part of the unit that we did at the very beginning of the year. And the one on our test looks very similar to the one that we just did here on the review. Go ahead and pause the video, go on to the next problem, and we'll come back and check it together. All right, friends, so this one is 711A. So we're modeling and solving one variable, two-step equations and inequalities. So for this one, the model represents the equation. So we have 5x, okay, plus 4 is equal to 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. All right, so because we have positive 4, our inverse operation would be to subtract 4. It's going to be that negative 4 to create the 0 pair. So then we have 5x is equal to 10 minus 4 is 6. And then we're going to divide both sides by 5. And that would give us x is equal to 6/5. And because I go over and I look at my answer choices and I see that right there, I can leave it like this. Could I also simplify this to be x is equal to 1 1/5? I sure could. I just need to look at those answer choices and see what they're expecting of me. Okay, Let's look at the inequality. So we have negative 8x plus 40 is greater than negative 16. And remember, we solve these inequalities just like we do the equations, okay? We're going to take away 40 or create a zero pair with negative 40 because we have a positive 40. So that gives us negative 8x is greater than. I can combine these because they have two negative amounts. So it's going to give me negative 56, okay? I'm going to divide both sides by my coefficient, which is negative 8. That's going to give me x by itself, but because I divided by that negative, I have to flip that inequality symbol so it becomes x is less than negative 56 divided by a negative 8 is going to give me a 7. And then I might ask myself, is this positive or negative? Well, I had a negative and I divided by another negative, so my answer is going to be positive. So remember, we can complete this solution with anything that says x is less than 7, okay? So if we were going to check it, we could plug any number that is less than 7. So let's say 5. So negative 8 times 5 plus 40 would be greater than negative 16. So we have negative 40 and positive 40. That would give us a 0, basically. 0 is greater than negative 16. Yes, that is true. Oops, sorry. I'm going to move that up a little bit. 0 is greater than negative 16, so that would be a solution to my statement, and my answer choice would be B. Okay, and remember, this would get an open circle, and then everything to the left of 7 would be included as a solution to my inequality. Okay, go ahead and press pause, do the bottom portion, and we can come back and check it. Okay, guys, I think this video is going to cut me off at about 15 minutes. I'm sitting at 12, so it's going to be multiple videos today. I'm going to try to talk through at least one of these, and then we'll just kind of see where we're at about finishing up the rest of them. So we are modeling and solving two-step equations. We have negative 5x plus 9 is equal to 24, so I'm going to subtract 9 from both sides. That creates that 0 pair. Negative 5x is equal to, well, I'm going to combine a 24 and a negative 9. And when I do that, I should have a positive 15. Then I'm going to divide both sides by negative 5 to isolate that variable of x. And x is going to be equal to positive 15 divided by a negative 5. That's going to give me a negative 3. Okay, in order to check my answer, I'm going to plug that back in. Negative 5 times negative 3 plus 9 is equal to 24. Well, that would give me 15. Oops, sorry guys, 15 plus 9 is equal to 24. 24 is equal to 24, so that is the solution to my equation. Okay, and like I said, I'm going to stop right here because my video is about to make me stop anyway, and then I will come back on and finish the rest with you.